Welcome back to the Explainer. So today we're popping the hood on one of the absolute most powerful and honestly most widely used machine learning algorithms on the planet. I mean, whether we're talking about predicting housing prices, flagging a fraudulent bank transaction, or even just figuring out what you're going to buy next, this is the tool. It's called XGBoost, and it has literally dominated real-world machine learning competitions for the last decade. By the time we wrap up today, you're going to know exactly what it is, the core idea of boosting that makes it tick, and why it's such an absolute powerhouse in data science. All right, let's take a quick look at our roadmap. We're going to cover why it's the champion of tabular data, decode what gradient boosting actually is, look at what makes it extreme, talk about tuning hyperparameters, figure out how to combat overfitting, and wrap up with some best practices. Let's jump right in.
Section 1. The Tabular Data Champion.
Okay, let's dive into this. To really get XGBoost, we've got to understand the specific arena where it absolutely reigns supreme. Now, you hear a ton of hype around deep learning, right? And sure, that hype is totally justified when we're talking about unstructured data. Things like images, audio files, raw text. But let's be real. In everyday business contexts, that's just not what we're usually looking at. We're usually dealing with structured, tabular data. We're talking about information neatly organized into rows and columns, pandas data frames, sales figures, customer records, financial transactions, the whole shebang. And for this kind of data, gradient boosting algorithms like XGBoost consistently crush deep learning approaches. Why? Well, while deep learning is out there hunting for really complex spatial patterns in pixels or sound waves, XGBoost is looking for hard, logical splits in categories. And that makes it the undisputed king of everyday business data. And hey, this isn't just some theoretical claim we're making here. This absolute dominance is exactly why XGBoost became so insanely popular on Kaggle, the platform that hosts all those massive machine learning competitions. For years now, solutions built on XGBoost have just lived at the top of the leaderboards for tabular data challenges. In fact, it was famously the secret weapon that won the Higgs boson machine learning challenge. So yeah, it cemented this massive reputation as an exceptionally strong, highly reliable default choice. It's a real game changer. Section 2. Decoding gradient boosting.
So to really wrap our heads around boosting, let's just quickly think back to the random forest algorithm from our scikit-learn explainer. If you remember, random forest use a strategy called bagging. They basically build a bunch of individual decision trees totally independently of each other, and then just average all their predictions together at the end. Well, boosting takes a completely different approach. Instead of building all those trees independently, boosting builds them one at a time, in a sequence.
You can actually think of boosting like a giant assembly line. Just imagine a factory where every single time a new worker is hired, their one and only job is specifically to fix the mistakes made by all the workers who came before them. That's essentially the sequential error-correcting process in a nutshell. Each brand new tree focuses its attention completely on the parts of the problem that the current model is still getting wrong. Now, you might be wondering, where does the word gradient actually fit into gradient boosting? Well, each new tree is trained to predict the gradient of the model's current errors. It's kind of like a golfer carefully tapping a putt closer and closer to the hole. The model is taking these precise, tiny mathematical steps to adjust itself, steadily minimizing its total prediction error. And this connects right back to those optimization concepts we dug into during the SciPy explainer. Because at its core, gradient boosting is fundamentally just an optimization process. Section 3. What makes it extreme? Now, what's really interesting here is that gradient boosting itself wasn't actually invented by XGBoost. XGBoost earned that extreme title because of some massive built-in engineering upgrades. We're talking built-in regularization, which essentially stops the model from just blindly memorizing the weird little quirks in your training data. It also uses parallel processing, which means it trains significantly faster than the older implementations. And honestly, this next part is pretty remarkable. It handles missing data automatically. It literally learns the best way to deal with gaps in your dataset entirely on its own. No manual filling required beforehand. How cool is that?
And the best part? Despite all of this extreme engineering going on under the hood, actually using it is incredibly straightforward. It was built specifically to have a scikit-learn compatible interface. So you literally just import the XGBClassifier or regressor, use model.fit on your training data, and model.predict on your new data. That's it. Everything you already learned about train test splitting and pipelines in our scikit-learn explainer applies directly and immediately here. You don't have to learn a whole new workflow from scratch.
Section 4. Tuning the hyperparameters. Okay, so taking the steering wheel and controlling this powerful algorithm definitely requires a bit of a delicate balancing act. You basically have 3 main dials to turn. First up is estimators. This controls how many sequential trees are built. Now, more trees can definitely improve performance, but it also ramps up your training time and your risk of overfitting. Dial number 2 is max_depth, which controls exactly how deep each tree is allowed to grow. Deeper trees can capture some really complex patterns, but again, they carry a pretty heavy overfitting risk. And finally, the learning rate, which you'll sometimes see called eta. This controls the size of the correction that each new tree gets to make. A smaller learning rate gives you a much more robust model, but it's going to demand more trees and more time. Finding the perfect balance between these 3 dials is absolutely vital. And don't worry, it's a process we'll actually see how to automate in a future explainer when we cover Optuna. Section 5. Combating the overfitting risk. So, I want to pose a question directly to you, based on what we've covered so far. How do we stop such a powerful, highly flexible model from simply memorizing the specific quirks of our training data? Because think about it. If it just memorizes the training data, it's going to completely fail when we hand it new, genuinely unseen data in the real world. We really need a solid way to keep it in check. Well, the crucial point here is leveraging a fantastic built-in feature called early stopping. Instead of just kind of guessing how many estimators you might need and crossing your fingers, early stopping actively monitors the model's performance on a completely separate validation set. And the very moment that performance stops meaningfully improving, the training process just automatically halts. Boom, done. It prevents the model from endlessly training itself into a corner and then completely crashing when it hits reality. And here's another incredibly handy feature you get right out of the box: feature importance. Once your model is safely trained up, you can access an attribute that tells you exactly how much each individual input feature actually contributed to the final predictions. And you can easily visualize this stuff using Matplotlib or Seaborn, which we've looked at before. It shows you exactly which factors are moving the needle. Because look, unlike deep learning, which, let's face it, can often act like a total black box, XGBoost allows you to take all that raw predictive math and turn it into transparent, genuinely actionable business insights. Section 6. Best practices for XGBoost. All right, to get the absolute best results out of our tabular data champion, here are your golden rules. Number 1, always start with a relatively small number of estimators and a moderate learning rate just to get a solid baseline. 2, rely on cross-validation to carefully tune your hyperparameters from there. 3, always utilize early stopping. That way you aren't manually babysitting it to prevent overfitting. 4, always examine your feature importance to unlock the real business insights behind all that math. And 5, don't forget how incredibly flexible it is. Beyond standard classification and regression, it actually supports ranking problems right out of the box, which is absolutely perfect for things like search engines and recommendation systems. So XGBoost truly is the go-to algorithm for structured data. But, that does leave us with one final, kind of provocative question. If XGBoost is the ultimate champion for standard tabular data, what algorithm do we turn to when our datasets become genuinely, overwhelmingly massive? Well, that is exactly where we're heading next time, as we dive into LightGBM. If this explainer helped you get a handle on gradient boosting, be sure to subscribe, because we have 83 more incredible packages left to conquer in this series. Thanks so much for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.